Hello, hello, you beautiful stars. Hello, hello. So, I am Courtney, host of Stars of the Morning Light, and I am normally a morning show. Yeah, or at least afternoon show. And it is about 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time uh, here at Stars of the Morning Light. Um, but I felt the need to go live. Sometimes I do this, folks. Sometimes I do this, and if you're watching other channels right now, or if you're in Dream World, continue on. If you join in the chat, I'm here. So, um, I entitled this "Healing Moment," um, because a lot of us are going through things. Hello, Lori. Good to see you. Lori's my girl, man. She always shows up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, This is random, but it's actually going to be important. I have not collected all my thoughts, but today my husband was like, Courtney, you should share. You should really share stuff. And he said, because that's also part of your process. And I said, yeah, of course. Um, so what's nice is, uh, guys, I am a teacher. I'm a teacher of many things. I used to be a teacher of English. I don't do that no more. Um, but I do teach a lot of things. And teachers need teachers, right? So I have my teachers. I have two teachers that I truly uh, love and cherish. They're down in Ecuador, and that is Shri and Kira. They're You can go to my community page, not my community page, but like whoever I'm following page. Um, they're in there. They Most of their good stuff is on Oneness Talk Radio. I do say subscribe to that. But anyways, they have been really my teacher since at least 2017, late 2016. And what's great about them, because they're a couple, is that it's always good to have like two teachers usually. I love when I get to co-teach with someone because there's going to be different perspectives, right? And recently, their last one for September, I was listening to, and I resonate with both of them, right? But when the male Shri talks, man, we're tracking. I mean, I'm either right in step with him or just a couple of days behind, right? And he mentioned something that he was actually going through, and I was going through it, but I thought like it pertained to me, and we normally do that. Like when we start going through stuff, we're thinking, oh, it pertains to me. And yes, everybody, I'm in my pajamas. It's a pajama party with Stars of the Morning Light right now. Hello, Robert. Good to see you. Um, I did just get off I keep calling it my second job. It's not really my second job. It's like my fifth job that I'm doing right now. Whatever, man. But I am gonna mention that at the end because it has to do with people. Um, I call this a healing moment because even my teacher had mentioned that during this time, especially September, and there's a reason why, because of what October is. He didn't mention that, but I know what's coming. And there are about, I think there's like 6 or 7 planets in retrograde right now. I mean, it's wild, folks. But what is happening with many people, and it's happening to me, and it's pretty intense. My head has been very heavy. Is that memories, things that we think we resolved, or things that might have not appeared to be that big of a deal, um, are coming back, kind of out of nowhere. Just whoa, and they're causing emotions. They're causing deeper thought, like, whoa, why am I okay, that's coming into full awareness. Why am I not shaking it? Right? Like a perfect example, tonight when my husband got home, he went to lay down after work, and I actually crawled into bed to lay down and take a nap with him, because I'm just tired. I've been working a lot. And the moment I laid my head down, a full memory came back to me. And now I will tell you, this was at a time that was very difficult. It was my last semester of college. And I can go into details if needed, but what I do want to say is that I had never actually fully remembered it. And it was because of a lot of the drinking and drugs I was doing, and I was also I was in an abusive circumstance, because I can't really call it a relationship. Um, it was a really turmoil time for me. And so I had this memory, but it was very faint. It's like I remembered the beginning and the end. And I just remembered feeling completely like humiliated, but not knowing anything that happened really in between. And so when I laid my head down, all of a sudden, whew, I am fully back into that class. I am hearing, remembering everything that was being said and done. I'm witnessing it, as really also in the perspective of that was half my life ago. Witnessing it also through like the teacher's perspective, the other kids' perspective. It was a fascinating, and I couldn't shake it. I was like, damn it, I'm so tired. I just want to go to sleep. Where is this coming from? But I was also like captivated by, oh my goodness, this is all coming back, and this was rough, right? So then I, like 40 minutes into this, and I could tell my husband could feel like, oh, what's going on with her, you know? So I left the bedroom, and as I'm sitting on the back deck letting the dog out, I was like, why is this happening? Like, I can't shake it. Like, I get the full picture. I get it. I get it. Why am I not shaking this? And it's because I realized in that moment, is because what that teacher was feeling, I am now currently feeling. And it was like, whoa, okay. Yeah, I royally hurt. Yeah, no wonder she kind of lost her marbles. Um, Things like that are happening to people across the board. Like as I started, like my teacher, um, who has healed greatly, and he heals others, right? I've healed greatly, and I heal others. Even the things that we think we might have not have healed, or that we thought we healed, it all of a sudden comes back. Or these memories that it's like we just can't shake them. Well, then why can't we shake them? And also feel it, feel it. I mean, I tonight it was like I literally was reliving being 24. It was very odd, but needed to happen. Say the same thing happened to me last night. Um, I was in belly dance class with Jamie Gray. Great teacher, and as we know, like emotions, trauma gets trapped in the body, right? We know this. Energy can get trapped. Um so I'm fine. She's always said it, but now I'm experiencing, right? There's a difference. I'm experiencing what she's always said about once you start moving your body differently than you have ever moved, and belly dance definitely is that, things will become untrapped. Things will become unloose. I've cried now, and I've only been there for like 4 classes, and I've cried, I think, 3 times because all this stuff is just being presented and letting out that's trapped in my body. And last night, um, it was myself and another student, and she was teaching us like this kind of, it's like a kick, shimmy, walk. Okay, it's hard to explain. It's like you kick your hip out and walk, and it's belly dance. And she stopped us at one point, And she said, she said, everybody stop. Just stop. Bring your mind into your feet. And so I did. I brought my mind into my feet. And she said, now just walk. Just walk how you would walk. And I kid you not, guys. They started walking. I was like frozen in spot for a moment because when she said, now walk, my mind's initial thought was, can you even walk? Can you walk? And I immediately started tearing up from the 4 months that I couldn't walk, the 4 months of intense physical therapy because I spun my entire foot around and now I'm held together with all sorts of metal. Immediately, when she said, bring your mind into your feet, and then she said, now just walk, that triggered when the physical therapist would say, just walk, Courtney. And my whole mind would go, I can't, I can't, I can't. And I spent 4 months fighting it with tears streaming down and sweat and anger and screams of learning how to walk again. Because walking, I walked on my first birthday. We learn it as a motor skill at such a young age, how to go up steps, how to walk, all sorts of things. That when there's an injury like that, you literally have to be conscious and retrain the brain to walk. Because we don't actually, it's not a conscious thought, right? My brain in that moment last night went, can you walk? And you could see me, she's got mirrors, and they're all walking. I know she saw me, and I kind of did one of those head shakes, like, shake that off. And I was like, you can walk, Courtney. Walk. I've been walking for years. That accident was in '06. Here's the point I'm trying to make. That triggered so much within me to that I then talked to Jamie this morning, the instructor. I said, sweetheart, you have no idea what you did for me. I said, I had no, because right after that, learning how to walk again, I sobered up. So I was focused on how do you get healthy in life? Like, how do you handle being out in society without being drunk 24/7? And then I met my husband, and that was a whirlwind. So I never even, I guess, it's like I processed, but I didn't process the physical and what it did to my mind. And for that to be my first thought when she said, just walk, after I said, mind, go into my feet, for my mind to say, can you walk? Because that's what it used to do. That's what it used to say. And then I would have to fight it and go, I'm going to walk. I can walk. And I had to do it again last night when I've been walking for years. Hell, well, on the drive home, I'm crying. And I said, listen, body, if you needed to release that trauma, I am so proud of you. Release it. And mind, we don't have to think that way. Not only do you walk, you hike. Hell, you're belly dancing. You see what I'm saying? It's like I had to talk through the trauma again. That was just last night. And I also thought too, because when I moved down to the south, this area is amazing for hiking. Waterfalls everywhere. It's just wonderful. Have I really hiked? No. Is it, I give the excuses of, I'm never thinking about it. I'm always having to do this or do that. That's not it. I wonder, because I used to be an avid hiker. Actually, when the accident happened and the doctor came in and said, yeah, her ankle's, she, I spun my entire foot around 180 degrees. And then as I'm falling to the ground, I went, oh, that ain't good, and spun it back around for, it's what your brain does. I don't know what I did. Um, the first thing out of my mouth was, am I ever going to hike again? Which that's normally not what the first thing is about when you injure yourself that way. But I used to be a big hiker when I was young. And so I was like, I'm going to hike again. I'm going to hike again. We moved down here. Oh, this is the best place for this is great area for hiking. Have I really hiked? No. Here's the thing. Is it because of all the excuses I have? No. Is it possibly because my brain, its first thought is, can you even walk, Courtney? And I don't even know that that's its thought. Do you see what I'm saying? I had no idea that was still imprinted so much into my mind from not being able to walk and then having to reteach myself to walk, that while I'm reteaching myself to walk, I never imprinted into my mind, you've got this, you are walking. I just started really working hard at doing it. So that kind of stuff can start coming up. Like I said, memories. If you think you've healed it, and those memories are coming up, feel it, experience it, release it. Release it. If you catch thoughts, I spent so many months talking to my patrons about catching their thoughts, catching your thoughts, catching your thoughts, right? Um, to the point that you have to be in an experience sometimes to be able to catch what it is. Hence, like last night, I didn't know my brain was still questioning if I could walk or not, which is probably what led to I haven't really started hiking yet because that was so imprinted into my brain. Well, I'm going to love my brain. I'm going to self hypnotize myself with just affirmations of, damn, look at you walking, girl. You're walking so good, right? Brain, we can walk, right? Things like that. That is happening across the board. And it's probably because all these planets are in retrograde. Retrograde just means going backwards, really. The reason why, and the okay, first of all, the reason to share this, and I didn't share the big major one from tonight. There's really no point. I mean, it just outlines how really horrible my life was um, in my early 20s, right? You can just imagine. You can just imagine. Um, I bring this up because if you guys are experiencing anything like this, you're not alone. You're not alone with, whoa, that's fully being remembered right now, as if I'm completely present, right? You're not alone in that. The reason why is because next month is a whole lot of healing. Alex was here talking about that October is for a whole lot of healing. Well, you know what has to come before healing? Awareness. Awareness is always the first step. Always. In every change, in every evolution, in every choice, right? How do we make a choice if we're not aware of what the choices are, right? Awareness is always the first. So we are in this grand, and it's so nice because we're headed into the crone season, the slowing down. So we can actually cry, release, tell ourselves this is not happening right now. Tell ourselves how much we love ourselves. Tell ourselves, wow, look how grown we have achieved. Look how strong and mighty and loving and caring and all the healing we have done. We we can walk, right? We can do that. That's a wonderful opportunity. Right now, so many of us are going through this. Like I said, my teacher even brought it up, which when he said that, it was so pleasing because we tend to put our teachers on like these pedestals, right? It was so pleasing to hear, like, oh, you wonderful ascended being, you are still experiencing, right? You're still gaining the awareness of things that you need to heal, things that you need to release, things that you need to maybe refeel to release, right? So we are in that time. Um, Many of us are going through it. And so when I was talking to my husband about it, he said, Courtney, why don't you put it out there? He said, because oftentimes, these are his words, probably because he lives in the house with me, and he's like, damn, my poor husband, you guys. Actually, he's a trooper. You have, he is, man, is that guy a trooper? Because I could not be married to me. I could not do it. Oh my goodness. Um, he said, Courtney, oftentimes you go through things before people. He said it could be just a few days, it could be a few weeks, it could be a few months. But oftentimes you go through things before others, and it's so you can tell them. Tell them they're not alone. Maybe give them a guiding hand. And he said, so maybe put this out there. I said, yeah. And I said, yeah, I was thinking about it. Because I don't put everything out here. I'm not that type of person. I will tell you, originally I decided, a few weeks ago, I made a comment that I would start putting things out there. I am still going to be very selective as to what I put out there and what I don't. My patrons are going to get much more information. Much, and the reason why is because this is a huge platform here. This is a huge, anybody can just click and watch, right? And so I have to be responsible with things. My patrons, I know them. I know the willingness, the love, the growth and transformation that they are going through collectively and as individuals, that I can share with them a bit more. So I just wanted to put that out there, that I might have spoken a little bit too soon about how much information I'll be putting out, because I have to be responsible. So I just wanted to make that out there. But that's why I also do quick things like this, right? Is to just inform people, of, um, you're not alone. If this is happening, you're not alone. You're not going crazy. You're not, you know, um, everybody's still healing. All of us are healing. Everybody's always healing, right? There is no end of healing, right? There's no end, not in this life journey aspect, not in the, when you're, there's no end. Because when you're, even when you've done grand healing, something else is going to happen, right? Um, so I'm going to actually leave with two concepts to kind of think about. Um, One is the aspect of healing. I've been talking lately, more so about letting go of the warrior mindset, right? I do want people to understand, I do know that struggle. I do know that struggle. There are still times in my life, um, that pops in, right? And I usually have a horrible afternoon when that's present, and then I'm able to let it go again. But I've been talking about it, not in judgment of others, but in I knowing the difference, right? It's kind of like when I did get sober. I gotta tell you guys. So I was getting sober, and I had a kind of a bumpy start, because I was like, I'm gonna run experiments. I was like, I gotta run some experiments. Me and my experiments when I was young. You should ask my husband. I'm telling you, he was a trooper. I was always doing psychological experiments on myself. It was wild. So, anyways, um, so even when I was getting sober a long time ago, And guys, I can still hang out and party occasionally here and there. I don't have those issues anymore. That was not the root of my problem. But I also do not. I was really bad. I mean, by eighth grade, I had liquor in my uh, locker so I could drink it during periods, during passing periods. I was a really bad drunk, guys. Really bad drunk. And then I got into heavier drugs. Um, so when I was getting sober, I remember at the very beginning, I was like, I sobered up for a little bit, and I was like, okay, this is okay. I still don't know what the hell's going on, but okay. I don't know if I really like this. Okay. Um, so one night I was like, I'm gonna do an experiment. I've been sober long enough now that I know what sober feels like. Let's get drunk. What does drunk feel like? It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. I couldn't stand it. It was disgusting. For me personally, I was like, how did I live like this, right? How did I, day in and day out, I woke up to this? Like, what? I ran my experiment. I actually preferred being sober. Never knew that. Never knew that I preferred that. I also did it with like marijuana at the time. Well, maybe I just like being high. I'm not gonna do any of them other drugs, but maybe let's run another experiment. I was running a lot of experiments, and I did that, and I was like, holy shit, this is horrible too. Like I just didn't. It wasn't actually for me. Um, I still don't partake that often. I really don't. I just don't. I kind of can get to my limit, and then I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. I'll shut it down. Um, but I had to do that because I needed the awareness of what do I actually prefer. I mean, this is my life. I could go right back to drinking if I wanted to. I could go this, and I do want to state right now though, if anyone is listening to this and you do struggle with that, I am a solitary individual. That is how I had to go about it. I know way too many people that they did not need to run experiments. They really do suffer of that disease. So you have to know yourself to do this. Um, I've lost many of people in my life to that. So if anyone out there this is not an example as to go back out there. This is me explaining the awareness through experience. So I needed that awareness of my choices. And in those I only had two. Either I go right back to what I always knew, or I keep going with this whole sober spirituality healing thing, right? Well, I ended up choosing the healing, the spirituality, the growing, the transformation. So that's why I was mentioning that. That's not for anybody that if you are in recovery, please stay. Just stay. Especially if I mean, you got to heal. You have to heal greatly. Um and that's what this is all about the next few weeks. It actually started, let's just say September. I don't even know what the date is. Um it started well, actually the blue moon, that full moon, that blue moon, man. Whew. Whew, that was a doozy. It started with that, with people having all these memories. It could be triggered from what somebody said, an action we see. Hell, I literally wasn't thinking anything when I laid down tonight, and it's just in my brain, and I can't let go because now I'm seeing it for what it was for the first time 20 years later. So that sort of stuff is going to be going on because we need the awareness. We need the awareness of what we still do need to heal. We need the awareness. Now, going back to the warrior stance, right? Um, I do know the difference. That's why I brought up the difference between I know myself sober, I know myself as a drunk. I know myself as a warrior, I know myself as a healer. And I think what happens is that we get into these these concepts, these principles that we do believe so wholeheartedly in, and that we're doing the right thing. And there is merit to that. The heart is in the right place, right? And the only reason it's very hard for us to step out of it or work our way out of it, because I had to work on it. The Akashic started telling me, um, actually, it wasn't even the Akashic, it was my guides in like 2015. Were like, you need to lay it down. And I was like, what? This is all I've ever known to be a warrior. It's all I ever was raised to be. That's why I drank so heavily. Um, then they were like, you gotta heal. You gotta not be a warrior anymore. The world doesn't need that. So it took, I mean, years, years to lay that down. I think it was, I mean, it must have been, it was years. I mean, it was a long time that, and heavy working on it because they constantly reminded me. But I know the difference now. I know myself as that, and I know myself as a healer. I know myself as that, and I know myself as a teacher. I know myself as that in the world, opposed to who I am now in the world. And I think that's the main difference, is that people don't see the other options. People don't see or experience or become aware of there are other choices. We see it as either you're a sheep, a warrior, or a healer. And most don't even pay attention to the healers. But that's what the world needs most, right? That's why we're we're too scarce and far in between in truth. Because the world needs a lot more of healers than they need warriors, right? We're here to heal ourselves, ourselves, others, and the planet. Before we can even move it forward, because we can't take that with us, right? So I have been talking a lot about it, and I apologize if it's been offensive to anyone. It's not in disrespect or judgment of where anyone is. Your life is your spiritual journey. Where you are right now is your spiritual journey, and I respect that. I just want to offer the idea that there are other options, that there you can have other stance and still be doing just as good. Um, because I do know the difference. And I wish I could express it, but really people don't, just general people, psychology wise, we don't really, I can say all the words, but until you experience laying it down some and choosing just for a short while, what is this healing myself and others, the planet? What does that feel like that we can then actually determine for ourselves where we should head, right? So I'm just putting that out there that there are other options. We live in such a world of duality, and there's either there is or there isn't. Either you're a sheep or you're a warrior. I It's very interesting. So talking about the sheep aspect for a moment. Just on the sheep aspect. Cuz I get really kind of tired of hearing that. I really do. It's um it's really offensive to other humans. I don't personally use that. Even when that word, really started circulating, I didn't use it that much. I just felt it was so degrading because they're on their spiritual journey just as you and I are. Their story is just as precious as ours. I mean, I just didn't like the word, but I do have to use it to set the stage and explain things, so everybody can understand what I mean. It's such a I just don't like it. I just don't like using it. So because it's not fair to ever it's not fair to our fellow humanity. It's just not. Anyways, that's my thing. But here's the thing. Here's some food for thought. We are that. We are social beings. We are social beings. Period. Okay? So this is just hypothetical. Maybe think about it. Just think about it, right? We're just going to think. We're social beings. We always have been. We always have been. I mean, it can go down to the little. I've talked about this before on the program that just like how all of our cells communicate with each other and all the little neurons are going back and forth in the brain saying, do this, do that, just how all of that is communicating, just how all nature communicates through the little all the stuff in the soil. I can't think of the word of it right now. The neem and whatnot. All this stuff that communicates. All the mushroom stuff, right? That communicates to all the other species and plants, right? Just how all of just how the nature does. Just how inside of us does. So do we. We grow, we change, we learn, we heal through communication, through being social, right? It's how we do. It's how we're designed, right? So then let's look at the sheeple thing that people like to say, the sheep. So if all of them, which you're also a part of, because you're a part of the all, you're a part of the human race. If you're here, you're a part of it. Um, what if that went in a good way? Nobody really brings that up. We kind of covered it for a moment earlier today, and maybe I can get to that line real quick. Nobody talks about it in a good way for some weird reason. It's always, oh, the ones that just follow the mandates, and the ones that follow this, and the ones that follow the orders, and the ones that just fall in line. Rah, 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 judge, 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 right? That's what we do. We judge them, even though they are our fellow man. They are of us as we are of them. What if that concept could be used for good instead of what we see as negative? It could be used for what we see as positive. Oh man, one person picks up litter on the side of the road. And all of a sudden, the sheep behind him's like, oh man, that was kind of cool. I'm going to pick up litter on the side of the road. And then the sheep behind them, oh, look at what they're doing. I'm going to pick up litter on the side of the road. And then by the fourth, fifth sheep, oh, are we picking up litter on the side of the road? Okay, cool. Okay, that's new. That's different. That's something kind of unique. Okay. And then the 16, the 60, the 369 people, sheeple, are picking up litter on the side of the road. Do you see what I'm saying? Hmm. If one goes, I choose to heal, and then another goes, I choose to heal, and then they say it, so it's heard, social, it's witnessed, you can know, you can see it, that wow, they're healing, they're healing. So then the third person, the sheeple, oh, we're healing. Okay, that's the new program. Okay. Could you imagine if we used it in that light? It's not mandatory. It's a social demonstration, manifestation of how great we actually can be when we are of one accord. Hmm. Hmm. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that really interesting? But it takes someone to demonstrate it, I suppose. The records for the past, I don't know, few months, whatever, since I lost my voice in March. They keep wanting to bring me back to, you're supposed to be demonstrating, Courtney. Demonstrate for them. And I'm like, I don't know how, what all I can do to demonstrate here. That's why I will tell you, in-person classes, if you can ever do it because you're local, in-person classes are way better than online. But my patrons also, we have a much more intimate kind of relationship with each other that they know, they know. They know what I do and they know what I am capable of. Wow, they haven't seen it all yet. They will. Hmm. I think that was, I'm just looking real quick because I think that the line that might go with this was actually, uh, because I know we read it. Oh, I'm sorry. We actually covered this a little bit today, and I just want to go back to it for one moment. We read this when I was live earlier. Save yourselves so that one may be saved. Save yourselves so that one may be saved. And right before that, Zoroaster says, you have not come to suffer. Rather, you have come to escape your bondage. Release yourselves, and that which has bound you will be nullified. Save yourselves so that one may be saved. So that can go into the one, another individual, or the one, the oneness. And when we say saves, save yourselves, release yourself from the bondage, no longer suffer, right? It could go back to what I was talking about, how of a serious drunk I was. I was in serious bondage. I was in the bondage of a lot of anger. A lot of anger. I cannot even express to you the amount of. I used to, when people would try to be giving me, what was I saying? The interventions. um, I used to just start telling everybody, well, when I stop being so angry, I'll stop drinking. That I literally would say that. When I stopped, I knew I was drinking out of anger. I would tell people I drink because so and so pissed me off. I drink because da da da. It's the resentments. It's the anger. I had severe anger issues. I was in bondage. Save yourselves so another can be saved. You have not come to suffer. I had to come to learn. I did not come to suffer. Man, and when I learned that, whoa, that I'm not here to suffer. I'm not here to be angry. I'm not here to be in bondage. I learned how to start saving myself and release myself from that bondage. And then another, and then another, and then another. So when we talk in terms of the sheeple, it is to me, I can't stand that term. I really can't. And like when I hear it, I cringe because it's our fellow man. It's our fellow brethren. Uh, Maybe they're not where you are, right? It's I can't stand the word, especially because it's always in the connotation. It's always a negative when it's just a part of who we are. We are social beings. If nobody had ever spoken to in your life and taught you anything, bad, good, indifferent, you would not be your complete self. We learn socially. We learn as little babies listening to the music, our parents talking, all the commotion about us, good, bad, or indifferent, because we are designed that way. So we could technically use that sheeple concept and turn things completely around now, couldn't we? It starts with self. One person. I choose to heal and start to lay down the warrior. I choose to heal and lay down the anger. I choose to heal and work through and release my fears. Right? I choose to let go of my pride and live the best I can without judgment of others. It only takes a couple. It only takes, right? So I just felt like saying that. The awareness is coming right now. So if you're having flashbacks, memories out of nowhere, if you are having instances of emotions coming out of nowhere, it is to gain the awareness of I need to heal that. I need to work through that, release it, maybe share it with someone else, right? Maybe ask for help. Man, whew, I am still witnessing how much of an issue that is, especially amongst my peer group. That is wild. Come on, Xers. I know we didn't we didn't learn nothing about asking for help, but Generation X, man, you gotta learn how to ask for help. I it's painful. I will never forget the night that I was forced into asking for help. I still am like, oh man, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. And then I had to keep doing that. Best thing that ever happened to me. So, whatever it may be, we're all gaining that awareness right now. The majority of us. Others are working through other aspects, but the majority, that's why all these planets are in retrograde to bring us back. Because in October, that's when we can release, we can truly heal. And remember, everybody, towards the end of October, that's when I keep saying, well, it's like we make this individual stance in ourself and we go, think about it. If we gain all the awareness right now, I'm sorry, I didn't finish that sentence. I'm getting to it. Right now, we're gaining all the awareness of the things that we still need to work through, heal, release, right? Awesome. It always starts with awareness. Everything starts with awareness, right? October is acceptance, resolution, release, healing. Oh, a deep, good breath if you choose to take it. if you choose to work with the energies and not against them, that by the end of October, you will feel more clear and free of the bondage to then make a full stance, as I have been speaking about since the turn of the year. A true stance, like putting your stake in the ground. This is who I am. Like Sitting Bull. This is who I am. You'll all be able to do that. And that is why we're going through what we're going through. So, I popped on quick, because my schedule's all crazy. My schedule's so crazy now. So, my schedule's crazy, folks. I'm in my pajamas. I mean, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. Please go back and you can watch my morning show from today. I'm going to try to get the weekly Akashic message out hopefully no later than Monday. I have a busy weekend this weekend and next. And I started that like part-time new job. I want to, here's a perfect example, folks, of the sheeple thing. God, I hate that word. I'm never going to use it again. I'm just having to say it now. Here's a perfect example, folks. Straight up. Uh, straight up. I even was talking to he's not the owner, but the guy who works at the gas station. So I recently, because of inflation, and because it was kind of blessing that fell into my hands, and I can do it, I'm easy peasy. I started cleaning a gas station by my house. Now this is a pretty decent sized gas station. I mean, it's got your pizzas and your everything and your beer. I mean, it's got a huge walk-in beer place, and I mean, it's a big gas station, right? And they lost their cleaning people about, I don't know. They went over 2 weeks, okay? Um, so I started doing that. The first night was and the first night was, and I talked about this today earlier, but there's a reason why I'm bringing it up again. The first night was, I mean, traumatic. Like, oh, humans. I mean, dirty diapers on the side of the building. I mean, oh, humans. Oh, man. Traumatic. And I'm like the only cleaner, right? And they weren't able to keep up with it. It was the end of a holiday weekend, and it was the last holiday weekend of the summer. I mean, it was, wow. I can't even tell you guys how disgusting it was. And I'm just like, oh, humans. I mean, to the carnal monster humans people can be, right? I cleaned the shit out of it that night. I cleaned so much. My husband was actually getting worried, like, when is she coming home? Like, I cleaned, man, to the point that the next day I was having my nose was bleeding because of all the chemicals I was using. I mean, I was wearing a mask. Don't think, yeah, I'll wear a mask when I clean public bathrooms. Shit. Anyways, I cleaned so hard, and I'm there every night now, and I clean, and I clean, and I clean, right? The first 2 nights, man, whew. But then I started thinking, I wonder if that sheeple thing will happen. Because it's not just what we say and what we hear, it can also be what we witness, what we see, right? So there's a lot of people that drive by at the night. There's a lot of people still rolling through. You can clearly see me cleaning, right? The place looks great. The place looks like it's getting cleaned up. Humans automatically, when they see somebody or they notice something is different about somewhere, they are good. They stop and they make better decisions like, oh, looks like they're cleaning the place up. I guess I'll throw this in the garbage instead of just on the ground. I guess I'll flush this toilet instead of just leaving it. I guess I'll maybe pick up my mess, and if I spill some pop, I'll wipe it up. Tonight, I was Friday night. I was like, "Whoo, Friday night in the South. Y'all don't even know. Wait until football happens." um, I was like, "Oh, it's Friday night. I'm gonna be in there for like hours, right? I'm never gonna get out of there." Man, this was the shortest night I've worked. It was clean. It was beautiful, and I turned to him, the shop owner. Well, he's not the owner, but the guy who works there. I said, "Did you clean today? Like, did you get a chance to clean?" Which he wouldn't have. I mean, it was busy. And he said, "No, it's Friday." Like, he looked at me crazy, like, "It's Friday." I said, "Right." Um, it was easy. Tonight was nothing. And it's because we notice, we become aware, we see, we hear. And if one person's doing it, we pause, we think, well, yeah, and we do it. We follow. If it's good, we can follow, right? So we all put this into the I'm just saying even that is the example. That is an example. That is a living, trust me, I witnessed it, example. We can do that with all things, all things. And we focus so much on the ones that we disagree with, that we disagree with. Don't focus on the ones that you disagree with. Focus on the ones that you can demonstrate to, right? Focus on the ones that you can be the demonstration, that you can be the one that starts. So I just want to throw that out there for everybody. It's a little bit. Oh my goodness, Brandon, you turned 20. Wait, you'll turn 27 on the 24th? Oh man, happy birthday, 27. Oh my God. That's wonderful. That's so great. Oh, I love it. Well, beautiful people. And hey, Brandon, so you know, and everybody else who's going to have a birthday whenever you have a birthday, I love birthdays. I love birthdays. I never liked birthdays growing up. It was actually, I mean, my husband, he'll tell you it was actually the worst day of the year for him. Because, I mean, I'd be horrible to be around and also terribly crying and depressed. I mean, I hated my birthday because I spent the majority of my life hating the fact that I was here. And then well, here was my transition, the biggest, pretty much the biggest transition. It is wrapped around my birthday, and so everybody can think about this. Yeah, I was thinking about you too, Lori. Um, I hated the fact that I was here my entire life. Well, I mean, until the transition. I mean, from the moment I got here, I was like, this 3D sucks. I mean, guys, I hated every inch of being here. That hence a lot of my anger as well. I never felt that I was a part of this world. I mean, it was so horrible, right? I could see nothing but the tragedy, the misfortune, the abuse, the neglect, I mean, I could see nothing but horrible. I could never see anything good. So my birthday really sucked. I was like, I mean, just hated the fact that I came, you know? Well, then my transition started. And my transition came with me asking myself, or coming to understand, in awareness first. Awareness. My awareness was, I chose to come. That was a huge pill for me to swallow. I chose to come to this bullshit? Like, I chose this? What's wrong with me? Right? That was huge. I chose to be here. I worked through that. Okay? I didn't have to know why I came. I just had to accept I chose to do this. Okay? Because if I'm here, I obviously chose it. So I might as well accept it, right? So I accepted. I accepted that pill. I took it. I took it. It was very hard to swallow. Well, then that went into okay, you accept you're here. Well, then what are you going to do about it? That was even worse. Still couldn't answer it. Still couldn't answer it. Right? Took me a minute. So that, as I'm trying to figure out, so what am I going to do about it? What does that even mean? That turned into, oh, I should start actually like living this life. Because I didn't really live it before. I didn't understand that everything was my choices, right? I am the writer, the narrator, the creator of my story. So just saying, choose life, choose to live this life, gave me the allowance, the opportunity to go, huh, well, I better start writing it. I better start living it, I guess. I gotta live. What would I like to do? This is before any like, oh, I have a purpose. I didn't get to that. I just had to choose that. I had to accept the fact that I chose to be here, so I might as well start living it in some way, shape, and form, right? And then that went to I'm serious, guys. This has been a long process. Then after I lived it for a while, still didn't know why I was here, right? I got real deep inside. And I went and I asked myself, I said, would you choose to come again? Because we all, after I started living life, well, then, I heard all these people say, man, I hope I get it right this time so I don't have to come back. I hope I get it right this time, man, or I will tell you, those people are missing the boat. They're missing the point. Because I was one of those people. I finally started living life. Okay, I'm living life. I'm doing the best I can. I'm living life. Man, I sure hope as shit that I didn't waste too much time and I go from 0 to 180 so I don't ever have to do this again. That's how I thought while I was trying to live life. I was just trying to live to get the hell out of here and not come back. So I did that for a while. And then I had to get inside myself. And I had to get real with myself and get truthful with myself and it was a moment that I had to ask myself, wait a minute, none of this makes sense. Let's look at it logically. I chose to be here. Now I'm choosing to live. I asked myself, would I choose to do it again? Because clearly, I've had many, 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 many lives. So have all of you. So have all of you. Many, 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 many lives. So logic would tell you, you just keep choosing. You keep choosing to come back. Why? That's not the point right now. But logic will tell you, wow, I chose to be here now. I chose to be here all those other lives. Am I going to choose to come back again? I had to get in there. I had to get deep within there. And I kid you not, my answer was, once I hit like the core of me, my core went, of course you are. You're going to come back. You're here to help these humans, right? You want to be here. And it was as if I jumped out of myself and went, what? What? Not only did I choose to be here this life, I chose to be here all the other lives, and I know that I'm going to choose to come again. Well, damn. Hmm. That hit so hard because when I realized that just freed me from everything. I didn't have to get anything right to not come back. I didn't have to stress myself out about what my purpose was. Because if I don't succeed this time, I'm sure I'm learning a hell of a lot. Maybe next round I'll get it. It freed me from what we call this so-called um, life cycles, this bondage, right? It freed me knowing that my full essence would choose to come back. I mean, I cannot tell you the scope of once that happened, I really started living life. I really started understanding why we do choose to come. It opened up all the space. It opened up all the space within and around without the dogma or the fears or the trepidation of not getting it right or not living my purpose or any of it. To just live life. To live life. So now, on my birthday, and on other people's birthdays, I see that as my new year. That's when my year started. That's my own personal new year. That's your own personal new year. Brandon, the 24th of October is your personal new year. It's when you chose. It's when I chose. It's when our birthdays is when we said, all right, I'm coming. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do whatever this life is before the life begins, of all the minutia that gets us all confused. It's a lovely day. And so when somebody has a birthday, will you thank them that they came? Will you just can you thank them on behalf of the world and say thank you for coming? Thank you for choosing to be here now with us. Thank you, right? It's a wonderful new year for you. It's a wonderful new, right? Because all of us are choosing. We're all choosing. It's if we accept it and then let it go that life really truly starts, in my humble opinion. There's a lot to work through. And you know what? It is a process. It is a process. And like I said, this was not any, I mean, first I had to just accept the fact that I was here, you know? And then I had to go, okay, well, if I am here, I might as well do something with it. Which literally, guys, at the time was like, not much. I mean, it was a lot of baby steps for me. Um, into embracing it. Into embracing it. And the first, I would say about 60% of the time when I do an Akashic reading for somebody, that's what they ask me. What's my purpose? What's my purpose? And I will tell you the Akashic wants me to respond at the first, my first response, the same every time. And then I have to get into their own personal story. Um, the Akashic wants everyone to know your purpose is to love. That's it. That's your purpose. The purpose in this life to get you through all the different lessons, to have you actually embrace life and live it, to enjoy what 3D also has to offer from all the lessons and the tranquility and the magic that's actually here. It's through love. Through love. That's that's it. That's everybody's purpose, is to just love. How you do that, it's going to look different day in, day out for you each and every time. So the grand why are you here purpose, how do you love greatly? That's it. How do you love yourself and others and the planet the most? What feels right to you? What do you got to offer? What skills? What do you got to offer? How can you show others love? That's it. That's it. That's your purpose. That's it. To love yourself, others, and the planet. That's it. I literally, that's it. But we tend to want to get it right, like there's some, mathematical equation or some damn, uh, I don't know. Like there's a key to the kingdom. There's not a key to the kingdom, guys, other than love. There's not a key to the kingdom. Just live your life in love. That's it. That's it. And know, so if this helps anybody, you're most likely going to choose to come back. You're most likely going to choose to come back. So you do the best that you can when you can. You do what you can do when you can do it. You free yourself from any of these fears of some kind of perfection. You're most likely going to choose to come back. So I just, maybe that helps somebody. So I'm just reading the excellent. Yeah, Brandon's talking about gratitude. Um, yeah, Coke Queen, how precious every day is. How precious every day is. It really is. Yes, expect miracles. Expect miracles. You guys are miracles. I sometimes in this house when my husband comes home, I'll be like, "You're a miracle," and he'll be like, "Whoa." You guys are miracles. We're all miracles. That's the one thing too. Like I maybe this can help people. My Fridays, because it's hard to like when you're first developing how to be in love. Either we're in love or we're in fear. We're in love or we're in fear. There's, some that are practicing being in a neutral observer mode. That's a little bit different, but normally in our waking day life, we're in either love or we're in fear. It's how the human mind kind of operates. And usually it's fear to actually protect ourselves from suffering. It's fascinating how humans' minds work. To every little aspect. It's troubles. It's a bit troublesome to me when people like let's go back to the warrior stance of things. All I hear is fear when they talk. All I hear is fear, and I'm trying to always wrap my head around what are they afraid of? What are they afraid of? And usually it's death, and or maybe um, their entire world changing in a moment's notice, right? The unknown. So it's either death or the unknown, right? Well, I hate to break it to you. There's always the unknown. Tomorrow is unknown to you. It seriously is. I hate to break it to you. Tomorrow's unknown. So that is always present. It is what you do with it that matters. Because doubt, the word doubt actually has no fear attached to it. We attach fear to that. Doubt really just means the unknown, right? The uncertainty of things. We don't know the outcome, right? but yeah, we put fear to it. So it's funny what people do, and doubt is the only thing that stops most humans. That's why I'm bringing it up. Doubt is the only thing that stops most humans to possibly achieving their best outcomes, to living to their full potential, to enjoying life to the utmost, right? It's doubt. And or people fear death. But what's fascinating about that is no one actually fears death. They fear the act of dying and or one of their loved ones dying. No one actually fears death. They fear the unknown of what's going to happen afterwards because they might not trust what will happen. And in that, the final death, what happens on the other side, because we don't know, we also feel like we have no control over it. It makes us feel really not okay, right? But we don't actually fear death. We fear the act of dying. And we also fear, like I said, we fear it for ourselves and we fear it for our loved ones. Why do we fear the act of dying? Because it causes suffering and pain? Because it causes suffering and pain? So usually when we're in some kind of stance and it's based out of the fear of death, what we're really saying is that we want to relieve ourselves of pain and suffering. Hasn't happened yet, but we're already afraid of the pain and suffering of the act of either ourselves or a loved one dying. Because we can't, and when a loved one does die, it's still pain and suffering that we feel, right? It's not the actual death in that moment, in that split second. That is not what we fear. It is the before and the after for ourselves and our loved ones. But in all of that is because we understand the pain and the suffering within it, right? We understand the pain and the suffering within it. So when we are in a warrior stance and we're talking that way, and all I can hear is fear, all I can hear is fear out of everyone, I then try to find what are they afraid of, and it's usually the fear of pain and suffering, period, because everything's changed and the unknown, right? And or death. So it's troublesome to me that our minds trick us to wear a mask of like warrior to cover the fears of pain and suffering when fear itself is the ultimate pain and suffering. I hope that made sense to everyone. That we don't talk about the actual, I'm afraid of pain and suffering, either because of the unknown or death. You don't hear people say those words, you know. You hear a lot of other things being said. And it's because of this wonderful mask that is based out of the fear. So they're actually suffering the whole time. Fear can either be in the moment or projected. It could be imagined and it can be real. So all of them, when I hear it, I just hear the fear. And I understand. I understand nobody wants to have pain and suffering. Nobody wants to have the doubt, the unknowing of if they will have pain and suffering. Nobody wants to have the pain and suffering of the act of dying. But for me, when I'm listening, it is hard for me to not address, and it really is hard for me to not address, and I don't because I don't, that they're already living in the pain and suffering because of the fear that they are holding. It is just a very long, long, perpetuated suffering. So, there are choices. You always got choices, man. You always got choices. So, I know that was a little bit odd, but it is, we don't actually fear, and I hope everybody does understand that. It's not death, it is the before and the after, the pain and suffering, and then the unknown. That's it. That's it. That's it for us and our loved ones. And we mask so much fear with so much other stuff, especially pride, especially judgment, especially the ego runs wild, you know, when it actually is that they're pain and suffering in the moment. It's so sad. So I love you all very dearly. That was a lot of that was a lot of that was a lot of folks. That was a lot of. You know what? If you missed this morning's, I'm gonna end with this. If you missed this morning's message, you can go back and listen. But we did pull the card number 35, perception. I'm gonna read this, hold it up, tell y'all good night, because I gotta go to bed. Perception. The frequency of perception supports our natural curiosity, moving us beyond our comfort zone to find the edges of what we perceive as real and to take a good, hard, deep look at it. You gotta go all the way to the edges of what you perceive as real. Turn around. Look at it. Look at it. Good night, everybody. I'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you all for coming. It's wild that I'm in the night, but I love you all so much. Food for thought to everyone. Definitely food for thought. That's all I do is thoughts. All right. Good night, everybody. Peace.